Hello and welcome. This is another episode of Animation 3 playing FORTNITE Zero Build Solo match. I've got my same skin on as I had yesterday. Today is Columbus Day here in the United States, so everything is closed. The banks, the post office, all the federal buildings. So everybody's just chilling today, mostly, unless you had to work somewhere. Let me get out of here before I get shot. At least I got a couple weapons. Let's see what's over here. Today I thought I would talk a little more about the farm and farm life and mainly stick with the topic of animals, which was a huge part of my position on the farm. And I love animals, and animals love me for some reason. Animals and kids, they always seem to find me and glob onto me and follow me around or whatever. Anyways, as I mentioned in my previous videos, we had several different breeds of dogs over the years. When I was real little, my grandmother had several Pomeranians, and my parents also had 2 Pomeranians. I know my grandmother had more than that on the farm, and I used to help her take care of them as well when I was little. And we've had black labs, beagles, English bulldogs, and the border collies, of course. Some of the other animals we had on the farm were, oops, I wanted to take this quick. Not that one. This one. Okay. We had Holstein dairy cows, the milking cows, the black and white ones, if you didn't know. We had beef cattle, we had Angus, and we had Hereford cattle. So Angus are the full black cattle, and Herefords are they usually have like a white face and then either black or reddish brown on the rest of their body. So and Angus and Herefords were raised strictly for beef. We had many cats, always tons of cats on the farm. A lot of them were just wild and you couldn't really approach them, and then some of them got tamed from my uncle always feeding the cats from like little on and stuff with some milk from the cows. Otherwise, they weren't really fed any food. They had to go catch mice and birds, so that's what they did. We had sheep. We had 50 sheep. That was my job, to take care of the sheep. We had Suffolks and Hampshire sheep, and also Cheviot sheep. Taking care of them was not easy because I had to pitchfork hay to them. I had to carry 5-gallon pails of water. I had to let them out to pasture after the morning dew is off the grass, is when you want to let the sheep out to eat, because if it's too wet they eat too much and then they get bloated and then they're laying there in the middle of the field, so you don't want that. We had some Nubian goats for a while. Nubian goats are usually brownish in color with some white and maybe black, and they have long ears. We had pigs, but we didn't have them forever. When I was real little, my dad had a lot of pigs, but then he ended up getting rid of them, and I think it was partially due to his allergies. Because then he was mainly the guy on the farm that fixed all the farm equipment and did field work. His younger brother milked the cows, and then they had one more younger brother yet, and he kind of did a little bit of everything, but mainly worked with beef cattle and did field work also. Trying to think what else. We did have chickens. We had some African geese. We had some ducks. I think that was about it. What was crazy though was when I was real young, we had many trees on the properties, on both the main farm and then down the lane where I lived on our little farm. And so we had a lot of butterflies, a lot of fireflies when I was growing up. But over the years, all of those trees and stuff were cleared out by my dad, because he liked everything cut down. He would just cut down everything. He liked to make our farm look like a show place, he always said. So one year, he wanted to clear out this little woods that was right across the road from our place, and so he had a backhoe, and he had me run the backhoe while he like chained the stumps or whatever, and I would have to dig out the stumps or pull the stumps out while he did all the grunt work. I could sit in the backhoe and work the backhoe. So the backhoe was one of my first experiences with big farm equipment. We had a little garden tractor that he bought for us to use to get around the farm in, and he took the mower blades off of it, and he got a little wagon for it, so we could like haul things and everything with it if we needed to around the farm. It was basically like our ATV back then. So I drove that around a lot, and whee. And so that's where I got most of my driving experience, actually, was driving that thing around. When I got older, maybe around the same time I got my first border collie. Yeah, I think it was around 13 years of age or so. Then he had me start doing actual field work. So he taught me how to drive the tractor. I used to ride along on the tractors a lot with my grandfather when he was still alive. And back then it was all open cab too. We didn't have any like closed cab tractors yet when I was really young, so very dangerous, but that's the way we did it back then, you know. So I don't know where to go. Don't really want to go into town. There's already a car right there. I hope they don't see me. Hopefully not. Ooh. Let's hide here for a second. Okay. Anyway, so I learned how to rake hay. I learned how to plow. And then when I got my driver's license at 16, then he had me hauling round bales of hay off the field. So I would drive the pickup truck, which had a hitch on the back and a trailer on the back, and follow him out to the field, or drive with him out to the field, and he would have a tractor out there or whatever, and which had like a claw on the front instead of a bucket, and he would pick up the big round bales and put them on the trailer behind me, And then I would have to drive that very slowly back home. He also had me do a lot of trips to get parts because, you know, he was the mechanic on the farm basically. So I had to do a lot of trips, and he would draw me a map just on a piece of scrap paper, just with the highway lines and a hand-drawn line to where I'm supposed to go, where I'm supposed to turn, and so forth. And I would just go there and pick it up. The stuff was usually already paid for on his tab, or however he used to pay for it. I'm not gonna win this because I'm not paying attention. I have no help now. I got 2 people on me. Okay, we'll try this again. I forgot I had that big gun too. Anyways, back to the animals. So when we started clearing out all these little woods around our property and stuff, we had like 40 acres behind our house. We had another 62 across the street from us, and then we had another 20, I think, that was nearby our house. And I know there was more too, but I'm not sure how many acres it was. That was across from my grandmother's house from the main farm. Anyways, when we started clearing out all these woods and that, then of course the butterfly and firefly population got really, really low. And right around the time I turned 18, then the government wanted to put farmers' crops in a program where farmers had to leave their waterways. Like if they had any creeks in their farm, on their farm, they had to leave so many feet between the edge of that water and their field to just grow up wild, so that there wasn't so much sewerage from spreading manure on the farm, on the fields and stuff, and chemicals going into the rivers around there. So they incentivized the farmers in that county to put their land in this conservation program for 15 years, and that drove my dad crazy because he loves to cut everything, you know. So to see all that grow up wild again and stuff like it used to be did not make him happy. He was celebrating when his turn was up, or he didn't have to be in the program anymore, and he went right back to cutting everything, as old as he was already. I think he was already almost retired, or semi-retired probably by then too. And he went to cutting everything right down to the waterways again. So anyways, it's not good. I'm a conservative person too. Like, I went to school. I went to an additional school. It was an online course I took for environmental science. So, and then when I started telling him about what I was learning, he kept saying, "Oh, that's baloney. Oh, no, that's not how it works in real life, blah blah." But anyway, so So anyways, when I was 13, then I got into the border collies and sheepdog training. So a couple years into that, my sister had the male dog, I had the female dog, so we started having puppies with those dogs because we had so many people requesting puppies from us when they'd see us work our dogs in competitions and so forth. So we started to go into a little business together ourselves there, and had a couple litters, and we always had a waiting list for our puppies. So whenever my dog was about to have her pups, then my parents would let us take off of school too, so that we could help my dog have her pups. So learned a lot with that, trust me. Oh my gosh. That's not something I'd want to do ever again. I'm really not interested in that. But I do miss having dogs around. I would probably get a dog again if I could, but my life is kind of going a different path right now than to have to worry about feeding a dog. But anyways, it was a lot of fun on the farm because I could get away from everybody too. I was very independent. I'd be anywhere. They had to look for me numerous times, even as a very young child. I think I was like 4 years old at one point, and they found me standing under their horses in the pasture, and one of them kicked really bad all the time, so they were panicking. They were standing on the outside of the fence just quietly calling me to them, trying to get me to come without any injuries. So I used to sit on the friendlier cows in the barn, and I used to just spend time with them, petting them and talking to them. And same with my dogs. When I had my dogs, they were my friends. I didn't make friends easily in school because I was so shy. I was very, very shy. So trying to think what else as far as the animals. Yes, I was gonna mention briefly about my pony that I had growing up. When I was 7 years old, and my dad got me my first pony. It was a Shetland pony. It was all black. He grew up with horses, so he didn't have a problem with me having a horse, though. As I got older, having animals and doing what I wanted to do became more of a problem. But I think that's true for probably most teenagers. So I got a pony, and my aunt also had a quarter horse, and we pastured them together. And one morning, early in the morning, they got out somehow, and it was about 5 in the morning, and But I went to school probably around 7:30, something like that. And my folks finally got a call saying that the horses got out and one of them got hit, which of course was mine. So when the police got there, because the driver called the police right away and didn't know whose horse it was or anything, and we didn't have any ID or anything on our horses or anything like that, so so because my pony was laying in the ditch and the police didn't really know what to do or whose it was, and he looked like he was suffering bad, I guess, they ended up shooting it. So I was in school, so I didn't know what happened. And oh, this is cool. Yeah. When I came home from school that day, which was probably around 2:30 or so, my grandmother, my mom's mom, was there. And I'm like, what is she doing here? She's never here on a school day. I guess my mom went into the city and picked her up because she didn't want to have to tell me alone what happened that day. So she's like, I got some news for you. I need you to sit down. It's not good. Because I asked when I came off the bus, I'm like, where's my pony? And she's like, this is what happened. And she told me exactly what I just told you. And I didn't cry or anything, but I was like in shock. And I went upstairs for a second to my room and got my big horse book. Came downstairs and sat at the kitchen table with my mom and my grandmother and looked through every single page. I was just in shock. I didn't even cry. I don't think I ever cried about it. But it was traumatic for me. So my dad felt really bad too, and about what happened, and so he started taking me out to find a new horse. I did end up getting a new pony, but it was a little bigger, a little harder for me to handle, and it liked to try to always roll on me, and I just didn't have the strength to keep him from doing that all the time. So also my dad got sick and tired of saddling it up for me all the time, so he finally decided that he was gonna sell it. So that was like a double whammy traumatic experience for me. But one day a lady came with her daughter and they bought and picked up the pony. This was a Welsh pony, so he was like reddish color with a black mane and a black tail. And so, like maybe 2 years later or so, they showed up on our farm one day to update us about this pony. And apparently the girl that it was purchased for, she took it in 4-H, trained it, and entered competitions with it and was winning all the shows with this horse. So they just wanted to tell us about that. And after I heard all that, I felt better, actually. I'm like, at least the horse is being used now and it's being handled by somebody that could handle it, So that was cool, and that was kind of closure for me about the whole thing, and we never really talked about it much after that. So yeah, so those are my animal stories for today. Um, if you're interested in um, parts of my story, though, you can go on YouTube and watch. Of course, you'll probably run into videos too of other breeds herding sheep as well, but Border Collies have a very unique style, and they have probably the strongest instinct to herd. And the difference between a Border Collie and other herding breeds is that Border Collies have the natural ability to keep balance. They know like right where to go to control the sheep without getting too close, although some Border Collies do. You gotta correct them for that right away when they're young, because you don't want them tearing up the sheep. But the majority of them know just by instinct where to go to move the sheep, when to put a little more pressure on the sheep, and so forth. And other herding breeds have other styles of herding, like Australian Shepherds, Aussies, Kelpies. They get right up close to any livestock, and they're not afraid to bite or bark. And Border Collies, they work quietly, you know. So those are the main differences between the different herding. That's HERDING, herding. The different herding breeds and styles. Um, I don't know if this goes far enough. I don't really care for this pumpkin launcher, but can't see what I'm shooting at either because the pumpkin's too big. It's kind of in the way. That's cool. At least it reaches pretty good. Okay. But yeah, you can go online and look up sheepdog herding, and then you'll see what I used to do. I did that for 13 years actually. So and a lot of that time too, I was still training obedience as well. So but my favorite was the sheepdog herding. I like to train off leash. So 15 people left. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Let me get this instead. Yeah. Everybody else seems to get me with this, so I need to get them with this. I think I've got a little drift in my controller, because when I try to stop, it keeps going sometimes. So I gotta stay on top of that. I heard a car. anyways, we've got a couple more weeks of this Halloween stuff in here. Then I'll probably change stuff over soon after that for Christmas and winter skins and map layouts and so forth. When I was very young too, I had I had ended up in the hospital 2 times. Back then they didn't know what it was, but it ended up being asthma, and I was very dehydrated when I went to the hospital both times. So I almost died, is what they told me. So that also made me experience a lot of hard times, because after that, of course, they wanted to test me for every allergy under the sun. And I'm like, I live on a farm. I'm going to be allergic to just about everything. You know, which ended up being true, because everything they tested me for, including some foods, you know, wheat, yeast, paint thinners. They tested me for everything. Mosquito bites, you name it, they tested me for it, and I'd be allergic to it. But what my issue was with being allergic to so many things was my nose would just get stuffy. So it wasn't anything I couldn't really deal with. The worst of it was when I'd have to take a test at school, and I couldn't blow my nose or anything when everybody's so quiet. So that was a struggle for me when I was already shy and quiet and didn't like to draw attention to myself, you know. So that was a bit of a struggle, but as I get older, I grew out of it, and I don't have any asthma symptoms anymore. I haven't for many years now. I try to take care of myself the best I can. I exercise. I try to eat right. I don't drink sodas. I don't drink alcohol. I never smoked. So, but yeah. But my parents did. See, they smoked and drank while my mom was pregnant with me, and my dad was still smoking when I was very young, and didn't stop till I think he was 40, maybe? No, 30. I think 30 years old or so. My mom didn't stop till she was like 55. So, and smoke. So I try to take care of myself so that it's not an issue for me. Yeah. Come on in here. Come on in here. I'm waiting on you, bro. There's a bunch of people. There's 5 people. It sounds like they're all teaming up on me. This is supposed to be solo matches, people. Ooh, we're close to the circle too, but I can't go out there. They're gonna get me. So oh, he's healing up. You can hear him eating Scooby's next. Down to 3 people, actually. Oh my gosh. Still here. Still here. That storm is gonna come. I'm gonna have to go to that little circle, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it without getting killed. Ah, here they come. Oh, I got him. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh shoot. Shoot. Oh damn. He knows where I am now though. He's gotta come get me though. Come get me, bro. I'm waiting on you. Oh, he's trying to get me with that. He actually missed me. Nah, buddy, you gotta come get me. Just try it, buddy. Oh no. Oh, 3rd place. 3rd place, guys. Thank you for watching today. Take care of your pets. Love your pets because they love you. Bye bye.